Hello everyone, welcome to Big Players.
Like the zero lag MACD and the impulse MACD. So are they really better than the classic MACD? Let's find out, because in this video, I'm going to be testing two new types of MACD indicator 100 times so that we actually know, are they really better than a normal MACD? So without further ado, let's get straight into the backtest. So the first type of MACD indicator that I'm going to be backtesting is called the zero lag MACD. So we all know that the classic MACD is famous for being a lagging indicator, because the MACD is based on an exponential moving average, which is inherently a lagging indicator. So the theory behind the zero lag MACD is that it is based on moving averages that does not lag. So it removes the lag from the classic MACD in hopes of catching early trend signals. So if you type zero lag MACD on TradingView, you'll get a couple of results. I prefer using this one, enhanced version 1.2. So here, you can see that it's a bit different from a classic MACD. The dark colors makes it very hard to read. So I'm actually going to change the colors to make it easier to read. And I'll also disable this, EMA on MACD line, because we don't really need this in the backtest. So the way we read this indicator is almost like a normal MACD. So you take a long position when the blue line, the MACD line, crosses upwards through the orange signal line. And you take a short position when the blue MACD line crosses downwards below the signal line. But in this indicator, it does not matter if it's above or below the baseline. The lines can be in any position as long as it crosses over. We also have these dots that will help us determine when a line crosses over. So if this green dot appears, it means the MACD line is crossing upwards and we take a long position. And if this purple dot appears, it means the MACD line is crossing downwards and we take a short position. So you can see the difference between a normal MACD and a zero lag MACD. The zero lag MACD gives a much earlier entry signal than the classic MACD. If you would have used the classic MACD, you would pretty much miss the trend already because of a late entry. So here's how I'm going to backtest this indicator. If a green dot appears, it means I'm closing my previous short position and opening a new long position. And if a purple dot appears, it means I'm closing my previous long position and opening a new short position. However, I will set my max loss to only 15 pips, which means if a trade reaches minus 15 pips, I will close the trade automatically and wait for a new signal to appear, so our loss will never exceed 15 pips. So now that you know the rules, let's get on with the backtest. Supposed to give early signals ended up giving worse results than a normal MACD which has a late signal. Well, let me explain. So if you compare the zero lag MACD with a normal MACD, notice that the zero lag MACD gave an early entry signal, amazingly right at the start of the trend, compared to the normal MACD which gave a signal several candles after. However, because the zero lag MACD is so sensitive, it often backfires, like this trade. Notice that it gave much earlier entry signal than a normal MACD. However, it also gave an early exit signal because the indicator is so sensitive. Compare that to the normal MACD, which gave a much better exit signal because it let the trend mature. That is also the main reason on why we got so little profits, because we always exited too early. And the indicator also gives so many false signals. And even though it gave an early exit on those false signals, leaving us with only small losses, but it gave so much false signals that those small losses slowly accumulates to bigger losses. That is also the reason on why it took only 7 days to reach 100 trades, because the indicator is so sensitive, so you take more trades. So overall, I don't really recommend this indicator. The second type of MACD indicator that we are going to backtest is the impulse MACD. On TradingView, I'm using this one, Impulse MACD by Lazy Bear. I'm also changing the colors of the indicator to make it easier to read. So the theory behind the Impulse MACD is that it filters out noises better than a normal MACD. So you can see, when the Impulse MACD detects noise in the market, it becomes completely flat like this, compared to the normal MACD, which will instead react to these noises. So the Impulse MACD is a version of the MACD that removes noises in the price. So my signals for this MACD is exactly the same as the normal MACD. If the blue line crosses upwards, you take a long position, and if it crosses downwards, I close my previous long position and take a new short position. However, flat signals like this doesn't count as a crossover if the lines remain the same. For example, you can see here the blue line crosses upwards and a flat signal appears. But as you can see, when the flat signal ends, it is still above the signal line. It means this is one continuous trade and you don't close any position here. However, there are times where it's the opposite instead. You can see the blue line crosses downwards, meaning you take a short position, and a flat signal appears. But notice, when the flat signal ended, the blue line actually became on top. It means this counts as a crossover. So I'll close my previous short position and enter a new long position at the end of the flat line. And I'll also set my max loss to 13 pips. So if a trade reaches minus 13 pips, I close my trade automatically. Of it filtering out noise sounds interesting, it just simply doesn't work. Instead, it gives a very late entry and exit signal. In fact, it gave a much later signal than a normal MACD. Like you see in this trade, when the Impulse MACD gave a short signal, the trend pretty much already ended. Compared to the normal MACD, which still gave a late signal, but it's not as bad as the Impulse MACD. So overall, it's a really bad indicator and I do not recommend you using it. I think the lesson that we can learn from this video is that new things doesn't equals better. Sometimes it's better to stick with the original stuff. So I just gave you 2 new indicators that you can just fully avoid and you do not have to waste your time and money testing it yourself. And all I ask for in return is like the video and subscribe to the channel. It literally only takes 2 clicks and it means a lot to me. You can also check out my other videos as well. So thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video.